What if the reason you can't sleep tonight isn't because your brain is broken, but because it's finally doing the job it couldn't do all day? You know this moment, your body is exhausted. You've been going since mornings. You've done the work, sat through the meetings, answered the messages, survived the day. And now you're in bed, in the dark, in the quiet, and suddenly, your brain decides it's showtime. Thoughts from 3 days ago. Conversations you replayed 100 times. That one thing you said in 2019, tomorrow's to-do list. A problem you don't even have a solution for. It doesn't stop. It just keeps going. And the worst part? The harder you try to stop thinking, the louder it gets. You're not alone in this. This happens to millions of people every single night. And most of them assume the same thing, that something is wrong with them, that their brain is broken, that they just need to relax more. But what if that assumption is completely wrong? Here's the question no one really asks. Why does this happen specifically at night? You weren't thinking about these things at 2 p.m. You weren't running mental loops in the middle of lunch, but the second you close your eyes and the world goes quiet, your brain opens a floodgate. Why? And why does trying to stop it make it worse? The answer has nothing to do with stress management, and everything to do with how your brain was designed. Your brain has 2 modes. During the day, your brain is in what scientists call asterisk task positive mode. It's focused outward, processing emails, solving problems, reacting to the environment around you. It's essentially a machine running at full capacity, dealing with the next thing and the next thing and the next. There's a part of your brain called the asterisk prefrontal cortex, the seat of logic, decision-making, and rational thought. During the day, it's working overtime, filtering, prioritizing, suppressing, and here's the key word, asterisk suppressing. All day long, your brain is taking in emotional signals. A sharp comment from a coworker, an unread message that made you anxious, a moment of embarrassment you didn't fully process, and it is parking them because it doesn't have time right now. There's too much else going on. Meanwhile, your asterisk cortisol, the alert hormone, is peaking in the morning, keeping you sharp and ready to respond. Your asterisk sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight engine, is engaged. External stimulation, noise, screens, tasks, and social interaction is keeping your brain busy and pointed forward. But then the day ends. The noise stops. The phone goes down. The lights go off and suddenly the external pressure disappears. Your cortisol drops. Your brain shifts out of task mode. The part of your brain that was suppressing all those unprocessed signals all day starts to loosen its grip, and everything it was holding starts coming through. Psychologists call this the asterisk default mode network. Asterisk. It's the network that activates external to focus on. No task, no input, no demand. And what does the default mode network do? It processes the self. It replays experiences. It works through emotional events. It simulates social situations. It asks, what does this mean? What should I have done? What might happen tomorrow? This is not random. This is your brain doing something deeply intentional. Think about it this way. During the day, you're like someone carrying a heavy bag, moving fast, getting things done, no time to look inside. But the moment you stop walking, you finally put the bag down and see everything that's been sitting in there. That's your brain at night, every unresolved emotion, every difficult conversation you didn't finish, every anxiety you pushed aside because you had somewhere to be. And now, finally, your brain has the silence it needs to go through it. This is why night feels heavier than day. Not because more is happening, but because you're finally feeling what was already there. And here's where it gets even more specific. Your brain doesn't just replay events randomly. It replays the ones it considers asterisk unfinished. Psychologists call the asterisk Zeigarnik effect, the brain's tendency to obsessively remember incomplete tasks and unresolved experiences. A conversation that ended badly, a relationship that had no closure, a mistake you made and never addressed. Your brain keeps these files open. And at night, when everything else is closed, these are the only to stop thinking. That's why you can't just tell yourself to stop thinking. You're not thinking for fun. Your brain believes these things are unfinished business, and it will not rest until they are realized. Here's what most people full picture, because there's one more layer to this, and it changes how you understand everything. Your sleep, your anxiety, your overthinking, your emotional life. What if the problem wasn't just that your brain is processing at night, but that you've been training it to have nothing else to do? Your brain is not malfunctioning to do. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. But here's the twist. The reason it has so much to process at night is because you gave it nothing to process during the day, not nothing in terms of work. You were busy. You filled every hour. But asterisk buzziness is not the same as processing. When you scroll your phone for 2 hours, you're not resting your brain. You're giving it passive stimulation, enough to suppress the thinking, but not enough to actually process anything. The emotional backlog keeps growing. When you jump from one task to the next without a pause, you're turning the emotional processing a pause. You're just deferring the emotional processing to later, to tonight, to 2 a.m. When you avoid sitting in silence because it feels uncomfortable, you're not protecting yourself. You're building pressure. And that pressure releases the moment you close your eyes. Your brain at night is not attacking you. It's catching up. The silence is the only time your brain gets to do its actual job. And the more you resist it, the more you fight, dread it, scroll to avoid it, the more intense it gets. Think about the student the night before an exam. All day they pushed the anxiety aside. I'll be fine. I'll study later. But at night, the moment the book closes, every unprocessed fear surfaces at once. It's not because the exam suddenly got scarier. It's because they finally stopped running from the feeling, or the office worker who back-to-backs meetings from 9 to 6. Never a real break. Lunch at the desk, commute with headphones, home to scroll, and then lies awake at midnight processing arguments from Tuesday that they never had time to feel on Tuesday. Or the person who just had a difficult conversation with someone they care about, brushed it off during the day, told themselves it was fine, and then spends 3 hours at night, what it meant, what they should have done differently. None of them are broken. None of them have a sleep disorder. They all have the same problem. They spent the day suppressing, and now the night is correcting that. Here's the bigger truth. Your brain was never designed for modern life. It was designed for a world with natural pauses, periods of stillness during the day, where reflection happened automatically. A walk, a meal eaten in silence, a moment watching the sky transitions between immediately filled with more input. Modern life eliminated all of those gaps, and in their place, we put screens, notifications, content, noise. We gave the brain everything except the one thing it actually needed, space. So the brain waits, it holds everything, it manages. And at night, when the screens finally go dark and the noise finally to stop, it consolidates, it integrates, it files things away. It works through the emotional residue of the day. This is not a malfunction. This is the most human thing your brain does. The problem isn't that your brain won't shut off. The problem is that you never gave it a chance to run during daylight. Tonight, when you lie in bed and the thoughts start coming, don't fight them. Don't reach for your phone. Don't try to force your brain into silence. Instead, ask yourself one question. What am I still carrying from today that I never let myself feel? Because your brain already knows the answer, it's been waiting all day to tell you. And maybe the real problem was never the sleep. Maybe it was the silence you were avoiding. Subscribe. More videos every week. The Science of Your Brain at Night.